everybody. You're listening to Out Comes the Sun Radio with Melissa Yamaguchi and Mariel Hemingway. And we have such an amazing guest today. She's a friend. She's somebody I worked with years ago and have kept in touch with kind of through the years in a kind of cool way, and we'll kind of get into that. But it's Bobbi Brown. You probably know her brand, Bobbi Brown, which is, you know, a makeup brand that's extraordinary. But she now has her own thing that she's head manning, and I hope I'm saying this correct. It's Jones Road Beauty, which I love. It's a beauty company, you know, makeup and skincare that is so, it's so great for women coming of a certain age who don't want to look overly made up. And I don't know, it's for everybody, to be honest, but it's really nice for me to have something that is just, I don't know, just natural. I use it. She's been in the industry for an incredibly long time. And she's just somebody I admire because it's hard to negotiate business, negotiate your family, negotiate the world as it is, and kind of how it's changing. And I think, Bobbi, you have reinvented yourself in such a way that is so admirable and so incredible, because it's not easy to do. I mean, I know being in my 60s and being an actress and what does that mean? And you have just done it so gracefully and kept the integrity to your family and to you know, to the world that you're living in, and you're the head of a company. I don't know, you just do it all so well. And you also did something, you reached out when I became a grandmother, which I really appreciated, because you had recently become a grandmother and said it was pretty cool. So wow. I thank you for that.
Oh, sure. And I, you know, to anyone that's listening, or everyone that's listening, I left Bobbi Brown Cosmetics 5 years ago, maybe 6. And I launched Jones Road Beauty, the new makeup line, the day my non-compete was up 2.5 years later. So that's kind of my story. And Jones Road is definitely for everyone. It's a clean brand, but really the point of difference is you put makeup on and you just look better. You don't look like you're wearing makeup. You just look so much better. You know, right. that hashtag of Jones Road, which I'm the only one that uses it, is how not to look like shit. Because that's why I wear makeup.
So true. I mean, it's like, because you wake up in the morning, I mean, even if you're younger, right? You wake up in the morning and it's just like things like there's blotches, there's whatever. And then it's just like you lighten everything up. And frankly, you know, this is a show that we talk about mental health, but I think that the way that you look and the way that you care for yourself is such an important part of feeling good about yourself. I think that we as women, as men, but as women, we've been so hard on ourselves, you know, for so many years, and we judge and do this, that, and the other thing. But choosing to take care of your skin and the way that you look, and that's really, self-care is so incredibly part of our mental well-being. I know it is for me. I know when I make the effort to, you know, be, you know, look, feel good about the way that I look, it makes a difference in how I feel, right?
I mean, absolutely. I know that when I put makeup on, and there's days where you wake up and you don't feel good, you know, I'm doing too much, or maybe I'm dehydrated. And so you don't feel as good. And you look in the mirror and you say, I don't really look good. If I stop and I put the makeup on and I get rid of my tired under the eyes and give myself a little blush, fill in my brows, because, you know, as we get older, they kind of go away, that I not only look better, but I start to feel better. So beauty is such an important part of mental health. There's no question.
100%.
In the beauty industry, we know that when a patient's in the hospital and begins to put on lipstick, it's the road to recovery. Yeah. Interestingly enough, yeah. So you've said some things that are so impactful that I think are worth sharing with our audience. You said, I don't have an age when I'm in the middle of exercising. And we talk about the power of movement all the time on the show and how vital it is to treat any kind of mental issue, right? Like anxiety, depression, move the body. So you've talked about this, and I know you're doing health coaching. How can you talk to our audience a little bit about the impact that exercise and movement has on you?
Sure. I mean, what exercise does for me, it like cleans the cobwebs out of my brain. It gets rid of that stuck feeling. It turns everything right. And if I don't do it every day, I don't feel the oxygen.
Yeah.
And I'm not a major athlete like Mariella is, but I mean, you were born an athlete. I've worked hard to be fit. And now my exercise is walking, it's doing weights, and I finally found something really joyous, which is hip hop. So I am taking hip hop classes with my hip hop instructor, who you could, by the way, do his classes online. It's called Live with Lloyd, and it's unbelievable.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I've seen some of your videos, and they're awesome. Here's what's awesome about them is because you did become very clear that exercise was such a big part of our life. And it is. Movement is everything. It's not whether you're a super athlete or this, that, or the other thing. It's really about that movement. The body and the brain are just like there's some magical something that happens. And I always talk about this, and Melissa and I always talk about this. I talk about the 7 doctors. Dr. Sun, Dr. Air, Dr. Water, Dr. Exercise, Dr. Nutrition, Dr. Rest, and Dr. Earth. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're free, right? But you do have to, you have to make yourself do those things, and you have to make that a habit. And what I've loved and admired about you over the years is that I saw you make that important in your life. I saw you realize that was, oh, wow, this is key, right? And it's even more important. I think what happens is as people get older, they start to think, I got an ache and a pain. I'm going to slow down. I'll have another glass of wine, but I won't do the workout tomorrow. And the truth is, it's just the opposite. The aches and pains go away from more movement. You have to come up against what's hard and move through it to enter into what's joyful, right?
But you also have to shift a little bit. Some things that I did 10 years ago, I don't want to do anymore. Like, it doesn't feel good. So I'm doing other things. It just depends. I mean, I used to beat myself up when I exercise. Let me go harder. And then I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. So now I don't do that anymore. I like to walk hills. I like, to push myself that way, but I'm not doing extreme sports.
No, I mean, but Bobbi is my Bobbi.
Yeah.
My Bobbi is not you, Bobbi, but a Bobbi with a Y. He's definitely doing extreme sports, and I'm just like, okay. Right, have fun.
Yeah, but even walking, and by the way, I use walking to either do, call a friend, I check in with people, because when I'm home, I'm so busy. Like I'm one of these very busy-minded people. I'm emptying the dishwasher, I'm on a Zoom, I'm folding the laundry. And then when I get out to walk, I can literally call, my mother, my father, my cousin Barbara, my Aunt Alice, and I just, feel connected, where sometimes you feel disconnected. So it's a way that I like to connect.
It's really hard. Well, Bobbi, I mean, Melissa and I, we both walk in the morning. We go for long walks in the morning, and we download. It's when we think of things that we're going to ask you. It's when we think of things that we're going to talk about. And it really is. I spoke to my daughter for, 45 minutes. It's so important. It gives you that space. I love walking too. I mean, I'm a big believer in walking and hiking. I think it's awesome. But anyway, go ahead, Melissa. Sorry.
You talked about when you're on your walk, you connect with your family. And I've read before that you are heavily influenced and motivated at one point in time by your grandmother, and then also by your dad. And so one of your messages always is about going back to your exercise. I'm not an age when I'm in motion. On this theme of age, how age is just a number. I'm encouraged when I hear about your grandmother motivating you and your dad. Could you, when your grandmother did motivate you and your dad, I believe still does, could you share with us about that?
Well, I mean, I think everything that we are, we've experienced, and you don't realize it at the time what the lessons are and what you're learning. So, my father is such an amazing role model. He's 88 years old. He's a retired lawyer, and he writes children's books, and he's finishing, another one right now. And it's very frustrating for him because he's 88 years old, and digitally he kind of suffers, so my assistant is helping him finish his last two books. And my grandmother, my Papa Sam that had his own business selling cars, my Aunt Alice, like all of my relatives kind of helped me, just realize what's important in life. And hopefully I'm doing the same thing with my kids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love, my dad's 88 also. And my dad, Bobbi, Mariel knows this, answers the phone with his age. Hello, this is Travis Chambers. I'm 88 years old, 2 years shy of 90. How can I help you? I mean, it's like a report.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
My father boxes twice a week. He's got his, his boxing guys. He boxes twice a week.
That's
so he doesn't, he doesn't think he's 88.
Yeah,
that's that. Well, they found that grandparents are heavily in the blue zones. Grandparents are heavily linked to longevity.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a tremendous link that just having that person there that inspires you and their wisdom. And I also think we keep our, our grandparents alive, our parents, our grandparents alive by including them. And I think we're in such a society where we've kind of discounted the importance of those connections with our elders, right? We don't honor that enough, I think.
No, and I like nothing better than when I meet a woman of older than me who still is natural and hasn't like changed her face too much, and she she's with her grandkids and active, and I plan to continue doing what I'm doing, but I always want to be better at it.
Yeah.
Your ability to reinvent is really amazing. And the reason I'm gonna, during the pandemic, everybody was slowing down and oh, woe is meing. And this is when you launched Jones Road. And there's a quote that I want to read to you that reminds me of you in this moment. Paradise is regained by finding the wonder within the moment, by Pico Ayer. So you in the moment didn't say, oh, it's a pandemic, we're all shutting down, oh my gosh, what's happening, oh my gosh. You said, okay, well, I got to do something, I want to do something, so what can I do? And when against many marketing people would have said, no, not now, what are you, insane? You went for it. You've got a good feel for, you trust your gut, it sounds like, on a lot of stuff you do.
I do. I trust my gut a lot, which is actually really funny because I constantly have gut issues. Okay.
Oh,
so yes, my gut serves me, but I'm that angsty person that, you don't see it on the outside, but it's somewhere in my gut. So I'm working on that, me and my probiotics. But I'm a very like naturally positive person. So I don't think something isn't going to work out. I just like to figure out a way that I could do it that makes more sense. I love simple things, and I see the possibilities in so many things. And I think that, it's just being an optimist. And if I'm ever in a bad mood or I feel like, oh, I either talk to a friend or I go for a walk, and it turns me around.
Absolutely. Well, energy always shifts. I always say to people that are suffering, like some people say, oh, what do you, it always shifts. All you have to do is walk. I mean, Krishnamurti used to talk about that. Just take a walk around the block, because it can't, and that energy can't stay the same way. Right. But movement and getting out in nature. You're also in one of my favorite places in the world, because my Bobbi, is from Long Island, and we go there once a year after everybody's left, right after the big holiday, and then it's kind of deserted and amazing, but yeah, it's so special.
And also so much of your mental health is what you put in your body. I mean, it's like, it's people don't understand that. Like, there's things that serve you when you're eating, and there's things that don't. I mean, I have a nephew who was having major issues, and it took him years, but he figured out how, certain foods that just made him feel awful. He changed his diet, and he's never been better.
Well, and you talking about your gut, they say it's really the first brain, right? There's the heart and the gut, and it's so intertwined. And that gut health is, that's been a game changer for me, just realizing that it's probiotics, it's soil, it's getting minerals, it's so many different things, but also just getting rid of weird food that isn't serving you, whether it's, too much sugar or processed foods. So many people just get trapped in this. We talk about it, in the middle of the grocery store, they're trapped there. You got to get out.
Exactly.
You go on the outskirts and, look at the fruits and vegetables and the things that are alive and healing. But, it's hard for people to make that connection. It's so sad because we also don't want to give up things that we don't want to give up, right? We're like, I'll figure out a different way. I'll get it.
Why? What's the worst thing you eat? What's the worst thing you eat?
I don't eat. What's the worst thing I eat? I don't know. Probably coffee is I guess I drink that. Yeah. But my Bobby says that, caffeine and coffee is so bad because he doesn't eat any of it, but he eats pizza. So I'm like, well, I don't do any, literally, I'm kind of stupidly don't do much anything bad when it comes to food, because my brain is I know my brain, and I know that I won't feel good if I go off what I know works for me. So, and I just keep telling him coffee seems to work for me. So, I make it organic and I love it, and, back off.
And they say it's good for your brain.
Yeah. And I like that.
Whoever they
I'm going to own that.
Recent studies have come out talking about the benefits of a modicum amount of caffeine, but they've proven, to your point, Bobbi, about food being so important, which I know we talk about at length on the show, but that Alzheimer's and cancers are caused by a metabolic dysfunctioning. So it's all related to what we're eating. So and the knowing that we have more power than we've been taught. I mean, our grandparents knew it, right? And our great grandparents knew it. That's why they had their own gardens and grew their own stuff. You recently I don't know how recently, I shouldn't put a time frame on it, but on the Important Things podcast, you and Anjali had on Charlemagne the God. And I listened to your interview where he talked about mental health and his mental wealth, and talked about how important it was to him to come to terms with his own mental wellness. At what point in the frenetic pace of you starting your business, and then every phase along the way, did you realize that you had to take this into your control? Like you mentioned anxiety that you may have. At what point did it become debilitating before you noticed it? Was it something you've always dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, it never debilitating. I grew up with a mom that suffered from bipolar, and she's bipolar and has a little dementia because she's been on medication her whole life. But so, I watched her suffer, and I always knocked on wood that it didn't transfer to me, or my kids. So, I don't know where hers came from, but she struggled with it. Yeah. But I also, I don't like to feel bad. I just don't. I don't like to feel bad, which is why I don't eat things that make me feel bad, or, I eat less of them if I know they're going to make me feel bad. And whenever I start to be a little like blasé, I just shake myself and I realize I have nothing to be blasé about. And I just kind of go for it. And, drinking water, by the way, as silly as that is, makes a huge difference, in your outlook.
Absolutely. 100%. And I relate to that because I come from family members who, my oldest sister was schizophrenic and bipolar. I think Ernest Hemingway, if they had that diagnosis, would have been diagnosed bipolar. And I know that fear. I know that, like, wondering if you're, I mean, I don't know if we share that, but I suspect we did. I spent a great deal of my early adult life worrying that I was going to end up like that. And when's it going to come? I thought it was like a virus, like it all of a sudden,
Yeah.
or you're just going to wait. Literally, when I was raising my kids, I thought, oh dear, maybe I'm just going to wake up one day and I'm not going to even know I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to know. I'm going to have a manic episode and lose it. But I know that, I like what you say. I just don't like feeling bad. And I
Right.
think when you make it as simple as that, it's really clear when you figure out, oh, I don't feel good when I drink too much alcohol. I don't feel good when I eat sugar. I don't feel good when I eat a lot of whatever it is.
Right. But I do feel good when I have a vodka on the rocks with like fresh cucumber juice and lemon juice, but I feel good having one. Like if I have more than one, I'm not going to want to hip hop the next day. So, but that's how and yes, I like a little bit of pizza on occasions, but I know I'm going to feel bad if I eat more than one, or I try to eat less. So, and I try to eat it with protein and, I play games, I guess, with myself.
Play games. I think you learn moderation. And I never say to anybody who asks me about food and like, oh, how do you change your diet or whatever? I say, look, it's not about, oh, you can never do something. Never. It's about knowing that when you do it, it's such a, like you should really enjoy that vodka with your fresh cranberry and cucumber, whatever you enjoy it and you savor it. But if you have that every day, it's kind of like going to Starbucks, getting a chocolate latte, blah, 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 with a mush of whipped cream. If you do it every day, is it really that enjoyable anymore? Do you really even, you know what I mean? It's like getting that prize at the end of your whatever. It's
right. But that just means that you have to pay attention, right? You have to pay attention to yourself. And it's like, okay, that doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
And, it's like everything in life. Well, that doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for you. AI is making all these entryways into different things in our lives, and a lot of people are very nervous. Some people are scared. I know in the medical industry they're titillated by it because they know how much more advancement they can make in the discovery of much of what ails us. They haven't talked about food yet, but they're still foraging forward. I was reading this morning that Levi has made a decision to use AI models, and one of the and I'm which fascinated me. There was a whole video on it with a model with the profile, and from the profile, one could determine that the model was Asian. And as she slowly came to face the camera and then go back, she now became African American. Comes back and then goes back. Now she's a redheaded, looks like a freckle-faced young Irish girl. All the same print, if you will, outline of a woman with just all curly hair, all looking the exact same. And they're getting a little bit of backlash, in particular from Hollywood with the writer's strike right now, fighting the whole AI thing. Is there pressure in the beauty industry to kind of accept this as a norm, or is it still much of an outlier?
Look, I feel like I'm in my own little world with Jones Road because I'm not, I don't feel I'm part of the big beauty scene because I don't want to be. We're not in retail. I don't go to those like events. Been there, done that. It's such a waste of time, energy, and money. But, it's scary. It's scary. Do you think anyone's going to need a makeup artist? It is a little scary, but I will tell you that we don't have a copywriter right now. And my son, who is our CMO, just went on whatever AI thing he did and said, what is Jones Road? And honestly, it was written so amazing. It was freaky.
Yeah. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
That's scary. Well, and I think about it too. I'm like, they won't need actors. They'll be able to get me as like me at, I don't know, 16, which would be nice.
Well, what is it? I wonder what it says about our definition of beauty. if
I
it's
know.
a manufactured, perfect,
Right.
utopian-esque thing, one of the things that I've always loved when I look at Jones Road is, and even when you were back when you had Bobbi Brown, yes, you had models, but there was the real woman. There was a real woman in there, and that's our audience. That's who we're targeting. And so
Right.
to see a real face on there with a real body is, I mean, Dove did that campaign where they had real women and their eczema or whatever they was showing how Dove, whatever they were doing. And it was so well received. So I think it's the implications to our self-image is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, we can't fight it. We just have to figure out, how we're going to use it. I mean, it's just like social media, guys. I mean, remember all the years ago we didn't have it? And
Yeah.
it's like, it's been.
Remember thinking you wouldn't do it? And I remember I sat in a restaurant once on Montana Avenue here in LA. I was with my kids and some guy had a phone that was like this big. I was like, I will never speak on phone in a restaurant. I'm like,
Yeah.
or say never. But, I mean, the weird thing is what can happen in 2 years? What can, like it's all happening so fast.
Mm.
Right. We did it. Dree, my daughter, who is a model. So that's why I had a moment of going, uh-oh. She has the AI app and she put in something about a movie or something and it comes out. It's incredible. You're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're smarter than you. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's way over my head.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I feel the same way. It's like, nah, really, I don't think so. Well, what are you moving towards, or is Jones Road kind of your whole world and how is that your world, or is it everything? Is it being a grandma? Is it, creating a new home and house out there in SAG?
And I'm going to say yes to all of that. And my whole world really is, things that are interesting and fun. I mean, it's, starting new homes is incredible, but it's, there's stress. Working with family is incredible. Jones Road has been honestly the biggest surprise joy that I've had in my life. My granddaughter, Lily, I mean, that's definitely takes front and center. And I have 3 sons. I have an amazing husband. We've been married 35 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I have great friends. I mean, the one part, honestly, of my life right now that needs work is the Bobbi, because I've been so go next, go next. All right, do this. I need to figure out how to take it down a notch and start getting more massages, or sit in the sauna that I have in my house, or sit outside with the book and just calm down. And so that's what I'm personally working on. I try to meditate, and then all of a sudden my list of things that I want to do kind of goes off. So I'm working on it.
I think that's great. Look, meditation, I've been meditating for like 40 years, and it's the just don't give yourself a hard time, because nobody doesn't have thoughts, right? We all have laundry lists and like, oh my God. And I always just say, well, if this is really important, I'll remember it in 20 minutes or 10 minutes, or maybe 5.
Right.
That's all you can handle. But, it's just making that effort really is huge. And here's a suggestion. Sometimes I go in the sauna and meditate in there. just kill 2 birds.
Well, I'll have to leave my iPad out, because it's like I usually, I have to edit pictures. Like I'm the one that I'm the creative officer. I edit pictures of Jones Road. And when do I have quiet time? So maybe I'll try to split it.
Okay, there you go. That's a deal.
Yeah.
I love talking to you. Thank you for taking the time, because I know you are so busy, and I hope you'll come back. We love you so much and always admire. I really do. I mean, I think you reached out. It was during COVID or something, and we talked.
Yeah.
We talked.
Right. I know we have all these relationships, and we haven't seen each other in person. So maybe one of these days I'll be in LA, you'll be in New
There you
York or
go.
the Hamptons, and
Yes.
yeah,
I'm
we'll
gonna make
connect.
it happen because you are a magical person in my mind, in my world. And I'd love for Melissa to meet you in person someday too. Thank you so much, Bobbi. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.